and they're doing this incredible.
Well, there's a myriad of things. I think first of all, we have to go back to
writer. You are very well known for your teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
I said, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.
King Frederick II of Prussia said just before his death in 1786, and I quote, "The only absolute and best friend a man has in the selfish world is the only one that will not betray him or deny him is his dog." Well, a lovely quote, and I welcome you to today's package on the woman. My name is Elizabeth, and you wonder if my guest today is a dog. Absolutely not. But I will be delving into the neighborhood of animals and how to take care of them for your own good and for their own good. And that's the specialty of my guest. Who is this lovely guest? Join me as I go and come back and introduce her. If you're just joining us, you're right on time because I'm about to showcase my exceptional guests. A woman who loves what she does to the core. A woman who's actually gained herself a title doing what she loves. Who is this woman? She is someone that I'll just call Mama Rabies. But her name really is Dr. Nma Okoli, a veterinarian doctor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
In all my life, I've always heard vets, but I've never really seen or interacted with one until I met you. And I know I had to drag you onto this show because you really did tell me things that got me, both eyes, nose, mouth open as I was screaming, and I needed to share it with the world. But then I know that in your family, it's all packed full with doctors, though in diverse field. And I keep asking, did you forget something in the medical arena? Like everybody's diving into the doctors, and all women really. Of all the fields in medicine, you decided to choose the veterinary arm. What propelled you? How did you choose or get into that?
Funny enough, my parents were art inclined, but somehow we found all of us were science. We went towards science. And I chose veterinary medicine. Initially, I didn't know the things I know now. But when you're choosing, my sister was already a medical doctor. This one was, I said, no, I don't want to do anything that the other ones have done. That was just how I ended up here. But being here, I enjoy what I do.
I definitely do, because you've talked so much about it and you've had a lot of a campaign about it.
Yes.
I unintentionally called you Mama Rabies, and I'm going to tell you how I picked up the name for you. But when I said that, you smiled and said that's what they call you in the office. So I was wondering, how did you acquire that title?
I've been working on rabies for the past 20 years. Actually, I'm a veterinary consultant on zoonosis control. Zoonosis are those diseases that occur between man and animals. They are transferred between man and animals. And so that was my schedule when I got into the ministry, because I came with a public health bias. And I found myself getting more and more interested in rabies, and they were pushing more activities on rabies to me. So when I started to see and to learn and to see, I became passionate about it, because rabies is really a disease that shouldn't still be with us now. And there is a global agenda to end rabies globally by the year 2030. And Nigeria is very far from there. Every death from rabies is a wasted life because it is 100% preventable.
How do you prevent it?
Vaccinating your dogs.
Oh, okay, not the human being now, the animal.
You protect it in the animals, you protect the humans. Everything about diseases that spill over from the animals to the humans, if you're able to protect it in the animals, the humans will go free. And 75% of all infectious diseases of man come from the animal field.
Okay, I recall some time ago we had a COVID breakout, even the Ebola, and it was all referred to the animal environment being transmitted to man. I'm wondering, pretty much like a lot of people, I used to think somebody doing vets, what are you going to be doing, and all of that, until you enlightened me better. Could you share that thoughts again for me?
I said that the veterinarian works behind the scene to protect human life. It's a thankless job we do, and I referred it to someone cooking a delicious meal in a restaurant, and then the waitress serves it to the guest, and the guest gives him a tip and says thank you. But the person who's really doing the work is the veterinarian at the back, because when we're able to prevent diseases in the animals, it doesn't necessarily have to get to the humans. Not all diseases, of course, are zoonotic. I'm referring to those zoonotic diseases, and there are quite a good number of them. If we're able to prevent it in the place that it primarily occurs, then humans don't have to have a spillover. But when we're not able to do that, then humans battle to do their work, and then they're the ones that are seen, and they're the ones being appreciated.
As the medical doctors in the hospitals.
Yes, that's
okay.
what I'm referring to.
Okay. No, I'm still wondering, with regards to what you say, vaccinating the dog and all of that. A lot of people seem to be in the trend of acquiring dogs as either security reasons or just pets. What are the basic things I should know, before going into animal, friendship, so to speak?
Like King Frederick said, the dog remains man's most loyal friend.
What about the cats?
The cats, they will bite their owners and scratch them rather if you step on their tail. But the dog will paw and, nuzzle close to you. If you want to keep a dog, it's a good thing. Rabies is not about staying away from dogs. It's about being responsible dog owners. Cats can give you rabies. I have to mention that dogs are not the only animals. In fact, rabies is every animal, warm-blooded animal, is susceptible to rabies. Okay. That's why man is a warm-blooded animal. Every dogs and every animal. We've had rabies in livestock as well, and other. Yes, they can come down. Any warm-blooded animal can have rabies, and the transmission is through the bite, through the saliva, really, because that's where the virus is, and it's introduced to the body through a bite or a scratch. So actually, it's the saliva, and sometimes you may not have been bitten, but you have a wound, and then it gets contaminated by infected dog saliva. That can also lead to rabies. So when playing around dogs that are unvaccinated, one needs really to be very careful. Not just the bite, a scratch, or already an existing fresh wound, yes, can lead to rabies if the dog is salivating, and usually salivating is a symptom of rabies. It's one of the things you see. So that can also cause an infection. So what do I say to people when you want to have a dog? Be prepared to take care of it. Be prepared to...
Not like you're having a child.
Exactly.
You must ensure
that you are prepared to have a dog. So exactly. You need to prepare. You're getting a dog. What does it entail? We preach responsible dog ownership. It means that you should feed your dog, provide adequate water, and then vaccinate it and give it other treatments. You deworm your dog the way you deworm your children, but vaccinating your dog annually against rabies is not just a responsibility you owe to yourself, it's to your family members and to your community.
Okay, it's done yearly.
It's an annual vaccination, it's not just one-off. Yes, once a year you take your dog to the vet to get vaccinated against rabies. Doing that consistently can really kick rabies out of Nigeria and the world. I know the cost of vaccination may be a little on the high side, and so government from time to time undertakes free dog vaccination, mass dog vaccination. And even when that is done, some people don't still present their dogs because they don't understand. Yes, even in FCT this year, they have had free dog vaccinations, I think in February, March. Yeah, I don't know if it's still ongoing, but yes, the FCT had, and so many other states. Lagos is also currently having free dog vaccinations.
All right, I'm wondering, how do I know my dog has rabies? Or even how do I know my dog is not feeling well?
Just like having a child. The children don't talk, but you know that they are sick. When you look at them, their behavior changes, even their attention, their gaze, you really know when your dog also is sick in the same manner, because your dog is your friend. It comes to you and then it even makes noise. It tries to tell you that there's something wrong with me. But when it comes to rabies, your dog's behavior just suddenly changes. It doesn't like to come close. It's hiding in corners. It's hiding away from light. And yeah, you won't notice that it's feeling pain, but you will see it's telling you that it's not well. But by the time you're noticing it, it's already barking. That's the most common rabies to recognize, because there are two forms, the violent form and the dormant form, the quiet form, where it just hides, you don't see anything, just a change in behavior. But the one that we all understand as rabies is when it's barking at everything and eating things that is not really food.
That's what we call it. We say the dog is mad.
It's mad dog. The name rabies actually came from the word rage. It's a Latin word that means rage. And when you see the dog, it really looks like angry, mad. If it bites anybody. But it's always good when the dog bites. Not every dog bite is rabid. Children throw things at dogs, even adults. And when you provoke a dog, what it knows to do is to bite. It can bite, but it doesn't mean that it's rabid. So in investigating a dog bite case, we also want to know the circumstances behind the bite.
But I want to know, some people do eat dogs, and you also mentioned that it's also present in other livestock. If I cook it very well, not juicy with a bit of blood, will it take care of the rabies before I consume it?
Yes.
Okay.
Most viruses are heat labile. They will be destroyed by sufficient heating over a good period of time. And in Africa, we actually cook our meats very well.
Yeah, it's not juicy.
Yes. We cook our food very well. But the danger in eating a rabid meat, and most times you wouldn't know, is that while preparing it, the saliva, especially the head part, can contaminate, or even if you have a knife cut rather, the saliva from that head can contaminate and you can get rabies from there.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So I better start using hand glove when I need to wash my meat and put a bit of salt or vinegar, right?
Yes, all those, they are good. They are good practices, yes.
And I know you so fell in love with your work as a specialist in the rabies world, Mama Rabies, so much so that you had to do this book. When I was looking at it, it looks more like the Tales by Moonlight kind of story.
Somebody actually told me that recently, that's what it sounds like, but I really didn't know when I chose that name. It just struck me. Grandma's Dogs. Yeah, and I don't know, I started writing this book so many years ago. It was a big book. In fact, I had actually written up to almost 400 pages. But then, I never got it published. But as I was heading towards, I said, this will be good for children. I've done a lot of school talks on rabies, especially during the World Rabies Day. We visit schools, we talk to children because they're the most susceptible group. Children under the age of 15, they play with their dogs and even play with stray dogs as well. Someone told me that she was bitten by a dog several years ago. Thank God it wasn't a rabid dog. I told her that she never told her parents. She never told her parents, and I said, thank God you're alive. It's something that no child should do. If you're bitten by a dog, you must report because action needs to be taken. And that you need to wash, in fact, get immediate first aid. Wash the site of the bite thoroughly with soap under running water.
The first thing I should do is
To wash the sites very thoroughly with ordinary soap and water under running water.
running water, not the one in the basin.
Is enough. Wash the site very well. You could reduce the viral load if it had rabies, and if not, nothing lost. 3 weeks ago, a doctor that works in Federal Medical Center, Jabi, called me. His sister in Pape was just bitten by a dog. And apparently he took up his book and read everything he needed to know about rabies. And he was now calling me that he has given the first shot of post-exposure prophylaxis. What does he need to do? I said, calm down. Let's get this circumstance behind the bite. He said he doesn't want to know. He doesn't. And I said, but it sounds like this doctor has seen a rabies patient. It's a horrible death.
How fatal is rabies?
Once the disease symptoms occur, the only hope of survival is that you take action immediately after a bite. And the first thing is to wash the wound, you reduce the viral load. The second one is to go to the hospital so that you can receive post-exposure prophylaxis for rabies. Or the immunoglobulin, again depending on the circumstance of the bite. That means that the dog that beats the person needs to be apprehended. We need to know his vaccination history. We need to know, of course, why did it bite? Most times they are stray dogs. And you know, Nigeria, we have so many stray dogs. They are owned. I don't say ownerless dogs. They are owned, but left to roam freely without any, so you don't know. But yes, when you have a dog bite, you can get hold of that dog. The veterinarian knows what to do.
When you say apprehend the dog, I found that a little bit funny. Like I'm going to arrest the dog. How will I?
Oh, yes. The dog needs to be quarantined.
Oh my God.
The dog must be chained for at least 10 days.
Chained. That's like arresting the culprit.
Yes. For daring to bite. Because usually after 10 days, especially if you give it water and food, you don't starve the dog, so it doesn't die of starvation. If it had rabies, it will certainly die within 10 to 14 days. So that's why we quarantine the biting dog. But you find that most people, once a dog bites them, they kill the dog. They kill the dog and even eat it. And before you get to the dog, it has disappeared from this planet. They've eaten it. And it's important to get the head of the dog when it dies, because the confirmation for rabies comes from the head.
Let me move a little bit from your life as Mama Rabies, even though you don't have rabies, and get to talk about you. I know that you're retiring from active service, and it's been a long journey for you. And then, of course, you're leaving us with this lovely book as a gift to ensure that our children, do well. But then, while you were in service, how do you juggle job and your family? Because you're also a very family-oriented person.
Oh yes, I used to have just 2 passions before rabies became the third. The first is my family, my children. I think every mother, if you ask, my children are my world. Oh yes, and then I would always make room to be with them. And I think I can rightfully boast that I've been with each and every one of my children at their very important moments.
That's a proud thing to say.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Yes, I can say that without...
There's a lot of mothers who send house help or secretaries.
No, my children. But before them is God. In fact, I have a triangular life. Office, church, home. I don't keep many friends, I really don't. And that's another way. It reduces further the time that you have for the things that are important. But rabies, if you find me in the office, 8 o'clock, I won't know it's 8 when we are discussing rabies. That's why my colleagues call me Mama Rabies. They say, don't you know that when they talk about rabies, she forgets everything else.
Somebody is bitten by such a dog and the person has rabies. Does he have capacity to transmit to another individual?
Oh yes. The person is bitten by a dog today. The symptoms may, in the incubation period, 2 to 3 months, and then before you see the person coming down. And most time the person might have forgotten that there will be a dog bite. In fact, there are so many cases. Sometimes it's even longer.
And then within that incubation period, is it possible to transmit to another individual?
No, it is when he starts to display the symptoms. And then if he bites the doctor or his relative who's taking care of him, yes, he can transmit rabies.
So the human being begins to bite as well?
Yes, it's because of the paralysis and change in voice. He's trying to talk and his voice comes out different, like he's biting. They call it, they are backing. I've had doctors call me and say, I have a patient here. In fact, I missed taking the photograph of one because he died just before I got to him in Bakaliki, where I traveled to uni. I was away. There were 3 cases just within the past, and one was just happening while I was there. There are pictures, like those who were there then took some pictures, but I couldn't get to the patient on time. He died. One was bitten by a cat, and each was, the dogs, the animals were confirmed, and one of the human cases was also confirmed by the laboratory. So yes, but if it's not confirmed, it just ends up as a suspected case of rabies. So, and you can't...
All right, when you're not busy with your rabies talk, when you're not busy going to the church or, being with the family, just your me time, how do you find time to relax? What do you do?
To relax?
Me time is important. What's your me time like? You watch TV?
Oh, yes, I do. And don't ask me my favorite TV show.
When you're talking, I think it's cartoon.
Oh, I do love cartoons. And then Z-World.
Z-World? Tell me a woman who doesn't watch that. We all love stories. It makes us happy.
Yes.
That's a good one. Now, just before I leave you, I'd like you to just speak to our women who are there. They probably do not have their own passion, but you could speak and then they prop them up to pick up something.
Yes, every woman needs to have something doing, something they are passionate about. It keeps you alive, it keeps you refreshed every time you're doing something that you really love to do. You don't even see the time passing. And we women need to keep busy so that we stop gossiping. They say we gossip a lot, even though that's part of what keeps us healthy and alive. Just talking and doing the things we like best. Just add a little passion to it, and I'm sure we'll all be good. Thank you.
Whatever you say, I still tell you that gossip columns sell faster than the newsy ones.
Yes.
So, because that's where people are more relaxed to discuss.
Yes, to discuss things. In fact, that's one of the things. When you want to know what people are thinking about anything, go to the salon. That's what we say. Go to the salon, go to... where else? Where women are, you will know what's happening in the community. So if you want to know a community that has a lot of dog bites, just go find a place you go. You will hear they are talking about it. Yes, they are talking about it.
It may not be the negative one, but they spread
even the positive. They just speak. You get to know what's going on, and it helps.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations as you turn 60 and happy retirement. We wish you the very best, and we know that you may be retiring, but you're not tired. We're still expecting you very active in the world.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've been talking with Dr. Nma Okoli, aka Mama Rabies. Now, she's just reminded us that the importance of dogs in our life cannot be, compromised. If you know that your dog is your best friend, then you must treat your dog like a good friend. And that way you get to enjoy the friendship. Take care of your dogs, vaccinate annually as we've just learned, and ensure that if you get a dog bite, you run straight up to ensure that it is not a dog that has rabies. Save your life, save the life of your dog, and it's a happy world altogether. See you again next week. Ciao. Bye.